pennies of that, funnels the money back to EMS, and now you've got some revenue. Okay? That's an option. It's quicker than an emergency services district, but it takes a ton of work. But there are, I think my point is, there are some creative things that you can look at, other than just saying, let's look at the citizens and get this over with. Although I think you might have to do that first. I think there's some opportunities for smart people in this county to look around and say, there's some other options, let's get together and see what we can do here. I just put that up as an illustration. This is not your system, but I just wanted to remind you that for every dollar you have in your user fee pot, for every dollar you can bring in from billing and collecting, should have a reverse effect on your subsidy. In this system, if they charge in tax dollars $10 per capita, ambulance bills were free. Or if they charge ambulance bills of $1,000, as you can tell, this is an old chart, there was no subsidy. And citizens or designers could actually put themselves anywhere on this chart. And they could have a $900 ambulance bill and a $1 per capita fee. Or they could have a $600 ambulance bill or a $4 per capita fee. So even though it's not linear, even though it's not a dollar for dollar example like it is in that perfect world example there, for every dollar you can bring into your billing and collecting, there should be a less of a reliance on your subsidy dollars. And if you didn't want to charge people an awful lot of money for user fees, then you should expect to pay more in your subsidy.
Cardio ER, please. Cardio ER.
I almost went to answer that. Timing's a big issue for you guys. We just told you what the hard deadline is, which means we're going to make some decisions pretty quickly about how we're going to select some of the parties that have expressed an interest and maybe others, depending upon whether we put out a full RFQ or a full RFP. But timing also then puts you in a situation where you cannot look to do something long-term today. You have to fix this problem today and then figure out what you're going to do in the medium and long term. I had a great discussion today with the employees of East Texas Medical Center, and somebody used the term Band-Aid. We don't want to see a Band-Aid approach happening right now while we figure out what we're doing here. And that's a great point. My recommendation could be that we don't do some 30, 60, 90-day fix. I think we have to look at getting a provider in here under the right criteria, the right provider, under the right rules, under the right contract, at a fair compensation, and do it for a period of time that makes sense. And give you, the decision makers in this area, the time to start looking at what are we going to do 5, 10, 15 years down the line? What is our long-term county plan going to look like? And I use the word county to encompass all of that. But you don't have that luxury now. You're going to have to do something, and you have to do it very quickly. And that puts a lot of the other options out. You can't do them. The only thing you can do now is contract with a good provider who's ready to come in there. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. Eventually, you can start talking about whether you want to do it internally, either through the hospital district, through the county, or through the city. And those are good options. You get two great things when you do it inside. You get absolutely unfettered control. You want to make a change, you can make a change. And you get stability that many times governments haven't been able to get by using a private contractor. I again think that's because they don't contract well with them. Contract well with a private provider, you can get the same stability as if you did it with the fire department. But those two options still exist for you later down the road. And in-house or contract, they can both provide excellent service. I will tell you, however, that in most situations, bringing it in-house, whether it's in a fire department, whether it's in a county run, whether it's in a hospital district run, is usually more expensive. And that's because when you bring in a good outside contract provider, they bring you parts of their good existing system. They bring you clinical, they bring you fleet, they bring you HR, they bring you legal, they bring you billing and collecting, they bring you the communication center. They don't charge you for all of it because you're only using a piece of it. That overhead is what you get the benefit of because you get a price on the margin. Whereas if you bring it in-house, you got to build a clinical department. You have to build a training department. You have to make sure you've got a fleet department. You have a communication center that needs complete upgrade, new people, new training to do the kind of things you have now. And one of the great things that I'm not sure everybody knows about is you've got, emergency medical dispatch that goes on at the communications center. And when somebody calls 911 and they get transferred to East Texas Communications Center, there's somebody there that is giving them a 0-minute response. They are talking them through the call, they're giving medical instructions, and they are helping them right then. You don't pay for that. You don't pay full price for that. If you had to build that yourself, because I think that's an important part of this community, that people are getting 0-minute response times by having that emergency medical dispatch, it would be very costly. It would be 4.5 people in raises for the Johnson County Communications Center. So, I'm not saying one better than the other, I'm just saying one is probably more expensive than the other. And you will have to look at that when you've got time to look at it and decide, here's the pluses that we're going to get for this, here's the minuses, can we afford to do it differently? But today, you don't have that choice. Today, you're going to have to go in contact with a provider. I've got my pocket filled with providers that have expressed an interest. And I have in my mind those that I'm going to ask not to participate because I don't think they meet the 911 footprint that I want to see in a provider here. I don't want somebody coming in and learning how to do it on the backs of this county. And sometime in the next couple of days, whoever the decision makers think that they're going to be, we're going to have to sit down and say, how do you want to do this? Probably not time for a full request for proposal, but is there time for an RFQ, or is there time to call 3 or 4 of them in and do sole source negotiations? There's 3 or 4 in this pool that I feel very comfortable with, and I could say to you, if you pick these, any of them will do a good job if you contract with them. My job is to help you contract with them right, without being overbearing, without being too heavy-handed, but to make sure that they live up to their part of the contract and provide the kind of care and transportation that the citizens here deserve and that they've grown to come.
Hey Steve, you won't be the decision.
I am never the decision maker, which is why I've lived to be a ripe old age of 61. So you're right, thank you for bringing that up, and I usually say that all the time. I've been in this business long enough that I've got friends and enemies in every aspect of this space. And so I can't be the decision maker here. But I will lay out the criteria of what a good company looks like and what a bad company looks like, and the judge and others will make those decisions. But they have to happen rapidly. I'm not here to make an ask of you today because my job is just to provide the information. My job is to let you know what we've looked at, what we thought was important, and to give you some numbers that maybe you haven't had before. And I will now